Summer dawn, June 8th, 793 CE. The holy island of Lindisfarne, Northumbria. The sea is calm. Gulls circle lazily above the gray horizon, and the first rays of light spill over the abbey's stone walls. Inside, monks rise from straw beds, their feet brushing cold stone. The scent of salt and candle wax hangs in the air. Bells begin to toll, 3 slow chimes calling for morning prayer. Brother Aidan pulls his wool robe tight against the chill and steps toward the chapel. His lips move with the familiar rhythm of the Psalms. Around him, a chorus of gentle voices fills the dim hall. Gloria Patri et Filio et Spiritui Sancto. Their harmony mingles with the soft crash of waves beyond the walls. For a moment, the world feels untouched, pure, eternal. Then something strange pierces the calm. A sound, not the wind, not the gulls. It is a rhythm, slow at first, then faster. The deep pulsing beat of wooden oars striking water. Aidan pauses, the bells falter. Outside, a young novice runs in, breathless. "Ships," he gasps, "dark ships from the sea." The monks hurry to the windows. Beyond the mist, the shapes emerge, long and narrow, with carved dragon heads rising from their prows. The sun glints off wet hulls and bronze helmets. The monks have never seen such vessels before. Aidan whispers, "Pagans." From the beach, a horn bellows, long and low, echoing through the cliffs. The sound shivers across the island. The monks scatter. Some clutch relics, others rush to bolt the gates. But there is no time. The longships slide onto the sand like blades. Men leap from them, tall, broad-shouldered, their faces streaked with salt and war paint. Axes hang from their belts. Round shields catch the dawn light. They shout in a tongue none of the monks understand. Harsh, guttural, wild. The first raider slams his axe into the abbey's wooden door. The sound is deafening. Another follows, torch in hand. The monks inside kneel, trembling. "Lord, preserve us," whispers Brother Cuthbert. "Deliver us from evil." The door splinters. Fire spills across the floor. Smoke rises, mixing with the smell of salt and burning linen. Aidan shields his face as men pour in, shouting, laughing, overturning tables, tearing tapestries from the walls. "Gold!" one of them yells, his voice thick with excitement. He points at the altar, at the chalice gleaming under candlelight. They rush forward. Aidan stands frozen. His hands clutch the cross against his chest. A raider grabs him by the collar, shouting words he cannot understand. The monk's silence infuriates him. The man throws Aidan aside like a rag doll. Through the chaos, one moment freezes in time. A towering Norseman, his beard soaked with seawater, lifts the golden chalice from the altar. He turns it in the light, eyes wide. Then he grins, a cruel, almost childish grin. Around him, his men laugh. They do not see sacredness, only wealth. They do not see faith, only power. Outside, the abbey bell still swings, struck by unseen hands, ringing wildly against the rising wind. The sea crashes harder now, as if echoing the violence on shore. The raiders drag sacks of silver, candelabra, and manuscripts out into the sand. A monk tries to run. He is cut down before reaching the gate. Smoke curls into the morning sky. From the cliffside, a single novice watches everything. His face pale, his prayer beads trembling in his hands. He will survive to tell the story, though none will believe the horror he saw. When the longships push back to sea hours later, the monastery lies in ashes. Bodies float in the shallows. The cross above the chapel door hangs blackened and broken. And over the waves, faint and mocking, the raiders' laughter drifts into the distance. Laughter that will echo across 1,000 years. The longships cut through the cold surf like predators returning from a successful hunt. Their oars rise and fall in rhythm. dripping crimson water back into the sea. On the decks, the men roar with laughter, wild, victorious, unashamed. They mock the monks they've slain, mimicking their prayers, bowing in jest, holding golden crucifixes aloft, as though in some twisted ceremony. One warrior places a bishop's robe around his shoulders and parades across the ship's planks, shouting words that sound like Latin, but are nothing more than drunken noise. The others erupt in howls. To them, these holy men were little more than children clutching shiny toys. Gods who do not fight are no gods at all, grumbles Hrolf, a veteran from Rogaland, his beard stiff with salt and blood. Their god hides behind walls. Ours feasts in Valhalla. The men cheer. They believe it. But beneath the laughter lies something else. Curiosity. The youngest among them, Leif, no more than 20 winters old, stares at the golden chalice sitting near his feet. Its surface glows softly in the morning light. He reaches out, tracing the engraved symbols. A lamb, a cross, an inscription in a language he cannot read. For a moment, he wonders what it means. Then Hrolf slaps his shoulder and barks a laugh. Gold is gold, boy. The priest god cannot eat it. We can. The men divide the spoils, coins, jeweled books, ivory crucifixes, silk vestments torn from the altar. Each piece glimmers like a captured soul. What began as a raid of vengeance and hunger has become revelation. The realization that the Christian world keeps its treasures unguarded, ripe for plunder. Back on shore, smoke still rises from Lindisfarne, curling into the northern sky like a black prayer. Seabirds circle the ruins. In the ashes, survivors crawl through what remains of the abbey, gathering burnt manuscripts and the shattered bones of their brothers. The Anglo-Saxon chroniclers will later write of this day as, "A great sign appeared over Northumbria, fiery dragons in the sky, portents of doom." But to the Vikings, it was no curse. It was opportunity. By nightfall, the ships anchor in a hidden cove along the coast. Fires crackle, meat sizzles, the sound of feasting fills the air. Gold and silver gleam in the firelight like new gods born from the sea. Hrolf raises a horn of ale. "To the monks who feared thunder!" he shouts, his grin wide. "Their fear feeds us now." The men drink, and laughter echoes against the cliffs. They laugh at weakness. They laugh at faith. They laugh because they have no idea that this day, this laughter, will awaken an empire's fury and reshape the destiny of the North. As the fire burns low, Leif sits apart, watching the golden chalice. The laughter fades behind him, replaced by the hiss of the tide. For the first time, he feels something he cannot name. Not guilt, not fear, but the faintest unease. He looks toward the dark horizon where the abbey once stood. A single bell still tolls faintly across the water. The sound is slow, steady, defiant. Leif tightens his grip on the chalice. He doesn't laugh. Morning again, the sea calm, the smoke gone. But the silence that lingers over Lindisfarne is heavier than any storm. Crows circle above the ruins. The stone walls are blackened, the roof collapsed, and the sand is littered with pages, scraps of Latin scripture, fluttering like pale ghosts in the wind. Those who survived move among the dead in quiet disbelief. Their robes are torn, their hands stained with ash. No one speaks. Words have lost meaning. Among the ruins, Brother Aidan still breathes. His face is cut, his hands trembling as he gathers a half-burned manuscript from the ground. He presses it to his chest as though holding a living child. The page is scorched, but one line remains untouched. "Be still and know that I am God." He closes his eyes. The words no longer sound like scripture. They sound like defiance. Far to the north, across the sea, the raiders return to their homeland, to the fjords and cliffs of Norway. The laughter that once filled their ships has quieted. Leif still carries the golden chalice he took from the altar. At first, it was a trophy, a symbol of victory. Now, in the pale northern light, it feels different, too delicate, too human. When he drinks mead from it, the taste turns bitter. That night, as the warriors feast, Leif sits apart again. The old men boast of Lindisfarne, how the monks screamed, how gold poured from the chapel, how easy it was. But Leif cannot forget the eyes of the monk who never screamed. The man's face was calm, even as fire swallowed him. There had been something in that silence, something stronger than fear. "Why didn't he beg?" Leif finally asks, staring into the fire. Hrolf chuckles. "Because he was a fool. They believe their god suffers for them. Suffering makes them holy." Leif nods slowly, but he isn't convinced. That kind of strength, the refusal to cry out, unsettles him. Meanwhile, word of the raid spreads across Christendom like wildfire, in monasteries from York to Canterbury. Bells toll not in celebration, but in warning. Priests speak of divine punishment, of dragons seen in the sky, of omens that foretold this slaughter. The Anglo-Saxon Chronicle records it plainly. The ravages of heathen men miserably destroyed God's church on Lindisfarne by rapine and slaughter. But behind the horror, a new understanding takes root. The monks, once hidden from the world, begin to realize they are not protected by faith alone. And in the north, the raiders begin to understand that faith, the kind that meets violence with silence, cannot be broken by fire or sword. On a windswept hill, Leif looks out over his village. The chalice gleams faintly beside him. He wonders if the monk's god truly watched as they burned, and if that same god now watches him. He sets the cup down in the dirt. The gold catches the first light of dawn, and for the first time since the raid, he closes his eyes and says nothing. The raid on Lindisfarne was meant to be a single spark, a moment of plunder, nothing more. But sparks, when cast upon dry land, become fire. By the spring of 794 CE, longships prowl every corner of the North Sea. Their prows slice through fog and rain, guided by men who now understand where gold sleeps. Monasteries, once thought untouchable, have become maps of opportunity, marked in memory by every survivor's tale and every captured relic. The Norse learn the coastline, as well as any local fisherman. At Jarrow, they descend at dawn, striking before the monks can ring their bells. At Iona, they come again and again, 3 raids in 40 years, until the once holy island becomes a graveyard of stone and salt. What began as faithless hunger turns into method, precision, and system. In their mead halls, jarls speak of wealth the way farmers speak of weather. "Where the cross stands," says one, "silver grows like wheat." They chart the tides and seasons, knowing when the western winds favor quick escape. Soon, fleets no longer travel as raiders, but as merchants and explorers, trading furs, amber, and slaves for silk, wine, and iron. Every coin stolen from a monastery feeds the making of a fleet. Every fleet brings new raiders, hungrier and bolder than before. Across the British Isles, panic spreads. Villages build crude watchtowers along the coast. Kings issue desperate calls to arms, but their levies are slow, and the enemy comes and goes with the tide. The chronicles call them heathen men. Yet even the priests begin to see they are not demons, but disciplined soldiers. In Francia, Charlemagne hears reports of northern pirates burning monasteries along the Seine. In Ireland, they sack Iona once more, killing 68 monks in a single night. By the end of the century, Viking settlements rise on the very lands they once pillaged: Dublin, York, Rouen, born from gold, first stolen in silence. Yet, amid all the noise of conquest, something changes within the Northmen themselves. They begin to see more than treasure in the stone walls of their victims. They see organization, permanence, power built not on axes but on faith and writing. They cannot yet name it, but they feel it. The civilization they mock may outlast their fury. Leif, now a seasoned warrior, walks through the market of Hedeby, a growing Viking town where Christian traders from the south sell silver crosses beside Norse idols. He watches a monk, a captive from Northumbria, scratch letters into wax tablets, teaching them to a curious child. The monk doesn't speak, doesn't plead. He simply writes. Leif feels that old unease again. That night, he looks at the chalice once more, tarnished now, dented from years of travel. It no longer feels like gold. It feels like memory. The laughter of Lindisfarne is fading. In its place comes something colder, quieter, a calculation, a hunger that feeds on its own success. And somewhere in that silence, the first seeds of transformation take root. The raiders do not know it yet, but their thirst for the gold of Christendom will soon draw them into its faith and change the North forever. Autumn, decades later. The North Sea lies still under a gray sky. The cries of gulls echo over the ruins of Lindisfarne, rebuilt, yet scarred. The stones bear smoke stains older than memory, and along the same cold shore where blood once ran, a lone figure approaches from the tide. Leif is old now. His beard is silver, his steps unsteady, but his eyes still carry the pale fire of the north. The wind bites his face as he climbs the worn path to the abbey. He remembers everything: the roar of the horn, the screams, the laughter that once filled this air. Now, there is only silence. The rebuilt monastery stands smaller than before, humbler. Bells toll faintly in the distance. A handful of monks tend their gardens and mend the walls. None recognize him. They only see a traveler wrapped in a weathered cloak. Leif walks to the altar. From his satchel, he takes the chalice, the same one he had stolen 50 years earlier. It is tarnished and bent, but still whole. He sets it gently upon the stone and steps back. The abbot, seeing this strange act, approaches slowly. "You come to return what was taken," he says softly. Leif nods. His voice trembles. "I mocked your god once," he says, "but he has followed me ever since." The abbot studies his face, not with anger, but understanding. "Then you have heard him," he replies. Leif lowers his head. "In your silence," he whispers, "even in the fire." Outside, the sea stirs. The tide rises against the rocks, as if reclaiming the memories of centuries past. Leif walks back toward the shore. The wind carries the faint sound of chanting. Not the frightened prayers he once heard, but calm, steady voices that blend with the rhythm of the waves. He stops and turns one last time. The abbey bell rings. For a heartbeat, he feels peace. Not the wild triumph of conquest, but the quiet surrender of understanding. Across Europe, the world has changed. The Viking raids that began in fire have ended in faith. Norse settlers now live in the lands they once plundered, in York, in Dublin, in Rouen. They trade instead of pillage, build instead of burn. The children of raiders wear crosses, speak Latin, and pray to the god their fathers once mocked. The sagas of the North begin to tell new stories, of kings baptized in rivers, of alliances sealed not with blood, but with belief. The faith once carried by trembling monks now flows through the veins of the very people who tried to destroy it. And yet, beneath the noise of history, the same silence endures, the silence that stood unbroken before axes and flames. On the horizon, the sun sinks into the sea. Leif's figure becomes a shadow among the waves, fading into history like the laughter that once echoed here. The silence they once mocked became the voice that echoed through their descendants. Long after the laughter faded,